starting over could be very, very challenging for some people. And if you watch these episodes and know when I talk about serious things, it's gonna be deep. Starting over, simple. Everyone's done that, I think. Do I know if you have? No. But starting over was for me, friend groups. I do that so much. I've went through friend group to just many. I went through, I think, since I was 10 years old. I started with one friend group and I went through at least 40 at this point. It just every couple months, new things. With work, it could be a challenging thing. With family, it could be very everything's challenging when you have to just go from point A, go back to point A. That sounded really bad, but you know what I mean. Point A, you go to point B and you go back to point A. I messed that up. But that's the hard part. The hardest part is going back. It's not in the fact of what's happened. It's the journey back to where you started. You have some great friends. Good example. You great friends. Imagine you've been friends for years. And all of a sudden, falling off. Things happen, arguments, or just someone says something, or someone moved. They're gone. Now, the start over part is to find new friends. You've already built such a great thing. You built the greatest friend group for a while to just have it gone. And now you find a new friend that fits not the criteria, but the more or less the things that they used to do. The jokes and humor, everything is gone. And that's a struggle. That's a big thing for a lot of us. A lot of people have that one star. What's you? What's for you? Oh, I'm really stuttering, but what's it for you? What was that moment? What was starting over for you? What was that thing? Mine's always been friends. A lot of people's work. Went from a place I worked at for about 2 years. And 2 years for a lot of people that are older, like that's not that long. But think in a perspective of 2 years. Coworkers, everyone you've known and hang out with and done things with. You, especially with me in the food industry, they dwindle. They cycle every month or two. Maybe 3 months if you're lucky. A lot of people with food, especially, just quit or get fired, and it's always cycling. So, meeting new people all the time, having to train, having to talk to, having to befriend, and then they're gone. And it's like, oh, that sucks because it happens so often. Just, especially with family. You may be like, oh, what was it to do with family? How do you restart with family? I mean, you meet so many people at family events. And then you go to another party, you meet other parts of the family, you meet friends of the family. It's just like, whoa, this is a little thing. This is different. Or partners. And that right there, I think a lot of us can relate to is partners. Restarting that is already hard enough. I had to take a long break because of that. I try to restart every time I build up everything it's gone. Why? I don't really know. It just happens once in a while. So that whole thing about with partners is that you built such a great thing. Okay, the whole point of this whole episode, before I start stuttering, because I'm in a really frantic mood, is just you built so much, this giant castle that you have polished and all the stones look perfect. You invite someone into that and they make themselves comfortable. They have their spots, you have yours. It's all great. But then when they go and leave, they're leaving parts of that in that castle for you. That's you. They're leaving parts in there, and you're like, oh, I can't really get rid of that. Like, that's not bad. Like, oh, I remember I like that game, or I like that poster, I like that music. I'm gonna keep that part. But they take things away that just bring parts of the castle down, little parts of the wall. And then you meet a new person. They do the same thing, rinse and repeat. And someday that castle will not look the same. That building, whatever it is in your mind that you're picturing, will not look the same completely when it first was built. Now it has parts. You're slowly becoming you. The more people you go through, the more people you befriend, more jobs that you've done, you just keep going. Restarting is not a bad thing. It can be, but it isn't all the time. It's with everything. It's not always bad to be restart. So keep going, obviously. But don't dwindle, as I said in last episode, I believe. Don't dwindle. Don't just constantly be like, oh, but there's these things. Go. Keep going. Don't stop. With you, I don't know. A lot of times this is something that I've discussed with people that to some restarting with like your relationships. Some people don't stop. They stop right after one or two. They're done. They're done with meeting new people. They don't want to go through that hardship because a lot of people have gone through relationships that are 10 years. 10 years you with someone your whole, like almost whole life. I'm going to say that's a life right there spent with someone and they're gone. They're just gone after that. And then you have to restart. You get to another person. This could be even friends, okay? This doesn't have to be relationships. It could be friends, 20 years, gone, restart. It's hard. It's so hard. But it could teach you things though. It taught me a lot. It taught me that not everyone stays forever. And to have the mindset, to some people is really bad. Like, hey, you're restarting. Like, does it hurt you? It's like, yeah, it hurts, but it's not gonna make me like give up. A lot of people give up at this point. Like, why do you keep going? Because life's not fair. You're not gonna get the perfect friend forever. And if you do, you lucked out. That's perfect. But I treat everything as like it might. Everything can happen no matter what. Things can end no matter what. You can't make promises as much anymore. You can promise and hold a deal, but promises are never always a thing. You could promise something and it could go wrong. There's no if, ands, or buts. That just happens. So a lot of people, when they hit the restart, they give up. They don't go anymore. What's the point? I'm gonna relive bad memories. That's understandable. A lot of people don't want to relive those memories they had with someone that either was abusive or just was too good for them sometimes. Like they were so nice, so good, but they left or reasons. It's just, oh, this is hitting me a little hard. I hope it's not hitting you too hard, but it's that one thing. Don't take everything as like a hard reset, like you're back to being born. Obviously, you're not. Don't take everything as now I gotta change everything, wipe all these personalities. I'm different. Like my music taste is completely, utterly different than anyone else could ever imagine. And my music came from, not from like me, it came from friends. Friends that introduced me to this music. Before that stuff, I used to listen to EDM, electronic music and like weird stuff. And I was like, this is like the best music ever. And then I got introduced to Lemon Demon. And then I got introduced to Will Wood. And I got introduced to Shaper James. And like, that's over time. I was shown these different artists and I was like, wow, this is great. And it was a weird shock though, because going back to my old self, to my old music, I still can somehow appreciate the stuff that I did before, but some I don't. And that's the thing you realize with a lot of things is that you could go back and reminisce and see, oh, I remember that was so good. And then you could go back and be like, that was horrible. I was cringe. I was a cringe kid. I did some weird stuff as a child. Creepy pastas and like old YouTube memes and YouTube poops and stuff. You know what I'm talking about if you're my age and you grew up in like the 2010s as a child. It's just like weird era you went through as a kid. Things you've always done is weird. And you don't have to treat it as like that. Every moment you think right now is normal to you, but in the future you will find this to be weird or stupid or cringe or something. That's understandable. So just, I can't remember the whole thing was episode called again, reminiscent or don't, what's that called? Go back sometimes. Restarting, there we go, I'm sorry. Hope this episode might be short, but I'm gonna try to continue it. If you're good already, I'm understandable. All I can ask you, as I do in most episodes, comment whatever. Say what was like something that you had to restart, like the things that really, really had a turning point in your life, where you spent so much time to restart something. Projects are like school. I can think everyone here can relate, no matter what. I don't even care. You could be the smartest person. Restarting a project in school was the suckiest thing, honestly. Only because it was like, oh my, I almost threw up. That's my fault. Let me just like clear that up. You go to school, it's a normal day, you have a project and you've done something wrong. You missed a slide. You didn't write this thing down. You forgot a whole part of the note sheet and you're just like, oh no, I have to now take everything I just done and restart. Restarting, oh my lord. Group projects are the worst. With that, I will always admit there's some people in group projects that don't need to be in group projects. And be like, whoever has to play their part. Some people are just stupid, okay? I'm not even like sugarcoat it. They're just dumb sometimes. But that's just some people. Also, it is 2 o'clock right now. Wow. I'm sorry. I thought it was like 12. I'm just blind, anyways. I'm gonna end this now. So I hope you enjoy. Please share whatever you do, all that stuff. Well, that's the end. Anyways, hope you enjoy your day, and toodaloo.